and welcome to another edition of Long Beach Treasures. I'm your host, Harvey Keller. Today I'm going to be talking to a most unique artist who works in a medium that is probably not really common to a lot of artists. She's a lint artist. I want you to meet Slater Barron. Slater, thank you for letting us come and join you.
You're very welcome, Harvey.
How did you get started in lint art?
Well, as a painter, I was trying to do my work out in the garage, very close to where the washer and dryer were. And as the dryer kept buzzing and buzzing from all the clothes I washed from 4 teenagers, it was annoying me. So I decided to start looking at what was bothering me, and the lint filter had the most beautiful colors. So as an artist, I could recognize how lovely that was, and I started saving the lint to see what I could accomplish with it.
Now, do you use the natural color lint, or do you have to dye it?
I use it just as it comes from the machine, or as it comes from my friends who collect lint for me now and bring it to me.
Are there some colors that's more unusual or more difficult to find?
Well, it depends on what I'm making, what I'm intending with it. And right now I need more black lint because that's what I use when I wrap the sushi that I've been making. I need the black lint. But
so what do you do? Take black clothing and wash it to get the black lint?
Well, I keep hoping that some of my friends have black towels and are bringing lint to me from their towels.
Now, I know you just closed an art show down at the Utopia restaurant at First and Linden. And I went down to see it, and I was most impressed. You just mentioned black for the sushi.
Right.
The sushi rolls almost look like you could eat them.
Well, sushi is something that I really love, and so it seems to me very natural to make the lint for the sushi. And a few years ago, I got some lint from one of my cousins who washed a lot of cleaning rags, and as they were washed, they disintegrated enough to make the lint look like it was rice. So that began the lint sushi series.
I especially like the heart-shaped chocolate boxes. I thought those were really fantastic.
Well, I think in my heart, I'm a true romantic, and so making the heart-shaped Valentine boxes or candy boxes, I think are fun. But also I think about the candy. If you get the Valentine candy from the wrong person, it all tastes like lint anyway. No.
I was reading your resume, and it was most impressive. You've been on almost every major network: ABC, CBS, NBC, Real People, and I understand you also was a guest on the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson.
I was, and that was a wonderful experience.
Oh, it must have been.
Yes, he was very gallant. And sometimes when you're on television, the host could make fun of what you're doing, but he didn't make fun of it in a way that would be disrespectful. It was all in good
good humor?
Good humor, and I think it was a very positive experience for me.
Were you on for quite a while?
I was on much longer than I intended to be on, much longer than what I was told I would be on. He just kept me talking and talking and walked me over into the little installation I had set up and was just so kind and so wonderful that I enjoyed it.
Do you have any up-and-coming shows scheduled?
Well, right now I'm in a show in San Pedro at Angels Inc., a small gallery on 7th Street. And that work is work that I've done with rose thorns. And most of the work is about child abuse or things that bother me. So the thorns are part of the pointed objects show that's there.
Are you a thematic artist? Or
yes.
Yes,
almost everything comes from some sort of concept. Sometimes it comes from words that I've already got the title for what the work should be. and then I get in and see if I can accomplish what I think the concept should be. So I use different materials. So it's sort of like the media is the message because certain materials are appropriate for certain kinds of work.
So you were an artist before you started using lint as a medium?
Oh, yes, I learned to paint when I lived in France, and so I had been painting and learning about art for about 10 years before I went back to school at Orange Coast College. And then while I was a student there was when I started saving the lint.
I just can't get over lint as a medium for an art source.
Well, artists in the last several years, last 100 years or so, have used very unusual materials from the time that Picasso did the still life with chair caning, where he used rope as a frame around something, and then we got into Marcel Duchamp, who did ready-made objects, things that he found, and then after that, Robert Rauschenberg used everything he could get his hands on.
Are there other lint artists around?
There are. There are other people who work with lint. They might work with it in a totally different way that I do, and I don't know that through the years anyone has been as compulsive about it as I have.
How long does it take you to complete a project?
Oh, sometimes that depends on how lucky I am at finding the colors that I need right away. And it depends on what it is. I've made so many candy boxes that eventually they start to go faster. So I might be able to do one in a couple of days. Um, but it's the process. The process is not only finding the right lint, but spraying it, sometimes taking it apart so that it's very thin, making it stiff with some acrylic spray on it before I can even work with it to make flowers out of it. Um, there's so many different parts to the whole project, choosing the frame, the background for it. Um, so many decisions still to make that sometimes I have to hold up before I finally glue everything down because it's not quite perfect yet.
Now, do you sell your work?
I do. I've had very good sales this year, and it's my firm belief that if I keep the work priced low enough that more people can enjoy it, it deserves to be outside in someone else's home.
Now, are your sales from shows that you do, or do you have someone who represents you?
I have no representation. It usually comes from shows that I do. Um, but it also comes if people come over for dinner. I do lots of dinner parties because I like to cook and I like company. And then a few days later, they'll come back and say, I saw so and so in your studio. I'd like to see it again and buy it. So,
Off the subject for a moment, but you said you love to cook. Is it French cooking?
very, very little of it is French anymore. I love to cook, but I'm one of those cooks who fed a family of six for so many years that I still cook a lot of our family favorites. So,
Now, you were a teacher also, right? A college professor?
yes, I wouldn't call me a professor though. I did teach college level, and I taught at many different schools in the area, from part-time at UC Irvine Extension, Brooks College here in Long Beach, Cal State Long Beach, um, off and on, different ones. Sometimes I taught at four schools at the same time.
Always in the art department?
Yes, in the art or design department. And for the most part, I've taught interior designers basic two-dimensional, three-dimensional, and color theory kind of classes.
What's your favorite type of art that to produce, to do? Would it be the lint? Would it be a different medium?
Oh, well, it's sort of like your newest baby is always your favorite at the time. So whatever I'm working on just seems really important to me at the time, and I'm ready to start a whole new series. probably by next week. That's been going around in my head for years, and so I'm ready to do that.
Is this going to be with Lint?
No, this is not with lint. This is probably a combination of painting and collage and assemblage work. So it'll be three-dimensional as well as two-dimensional, but all put together. I hope it works. It might not work.
I have a feeling it will.
But I'll have fun trying it anyway. That's the important part, is the enjoyment of working on it.
I believe you also were interviewed by Hugh Hauser, right? Were you not?
I was back in the 80s at a small show that I did at Whittier College, and he came for the day with his staff and photographed it, and he has shown that piece from visiting to classics. He has shown that piece 4 times. Very nice man.
So you've been an artist for quite a while then, if that was in the 80s.
Oh, I've been an artist, I think, since the 70s. The 60s, I was learning to paint. I was more of a hobbyist. But once I was captured in the 70s, I've been pretty steady at it.
Well, what piqued your interest in becoming an artist?
Oh, well, I think once I learned to paint and I could combine the idea of painting and concept and ideas together, there wasn't anything else I wanted to do with my life.
Well, you seem like you've been very, very successful. And I see you really don't have much of your work here in your home.
Well, it's easier to live with the art by other people. So I've been fortunate. I've traded lots of art with other artists, and I've actually bought art from other artists. And I really enjoy living with their ideas as well as my own. And my own, I keep in the studio.
I would love to go out to the studio and see some of your work out there.
Well, let's do that.
Let's go.
Okay, great.
Everybody knows My Mailboxes, etc. is the best place to pack and ship. But Brown said, let's take it to the next level. We're becoming the UPS store with new low rates direct from UPS and the same great people to help with packing, copying, and mailbox services. New sign, new shirt. The shorts will be here soon.
New low rates, same great service. Call 1-800-PICK-UPS.
Hi, I'm Ken Schrader. In race car driving, seconds can win a race. But to win the race against pet overpopulation, you need to understand the importance of spaying or neutering your pets. Every few seconds, hundreds of dogs and cats are put down in our country. Help fix the problem. I urge you to spay or neuter your pets. To find out how, visit pets911.com today.
This message brought to you by Friends of Long Beach Animals and Pets 911.
Founded in 1976, Polly's Gourmet Coffee is Southern California's most complete gourmet coffee store. Polly's has the best tasting coffee, freshly roasted every day right in the store, plus a wide selection of teas, an in-house bakery, espresso bar, patio dining, and more. We also offer Wi-Fi, free internet access for all of our customers. Our nationwide clientele agree, when it comes to coffee, there's only one name to remember, Polly's. 4606 East 2nd Street, welcoming you into Belmont Shore.
Working out can be intimidating.
That's why we created Executive Fitness, a private training studio.
At Executive Fitness, we work with you one-on-one, helping you achieve your personal fitness goals.
With personal training, you get a more targeted, effective workout, which saves you time and produces better results.
Workouts are by appointment only, so there are never any crowds and you can exercise in comfort.
And we're easy to find, downtown on Pine Avenue.
Stop being intimidated by big health clubs.
Call us at Executive Fitness today.
All right, this is where all the work is done?
Yes.
And I see on the wall over here some of the pieces I believe were at Utopia. We talked about the sushi, my favorite, the heart-shaped candy boxes. Those are all yours?
Yes. The one that's got the lobster dinner in it is one that was, the lobster dinner was from an installation that had two dinners in it, and it was about people in love celebrating at maybe Valentine's Day or such. So it was a Valentine dinner, and when I was framing things up for Utopia, I just thought it would be kind of nice to bring that out into the light of day again. So.
Now, can you do a small demonstration for us to show us how you work with lint?
All right, I'll try to make one piece of candy, and then I'll see if I can make some roses out of the red lint I've been saving.
All right. Well, now, I see that's the lint. I cleaned out my dryer screen this morning.
Oh, okay.
And this is what I found.
Oh, well, that's a good color.
Is that the kind of stuff, is that the kind of lint you use when you do your...
Yes, but if you're going to be a lint collector for me, you need to not clump it up like that, but save it flat between pieces of paper.
Oh. Okay.
Usually I save mine between sheets of wax paper, but I think I'll add that to this and make a roll of candy that might end up being kind of pretty here. So let's see what happens.
Well, that takes quite a bit of lint, doesn't it, to make...
Well, this would make a whole roll of different size pieces. So, so there we have a piece of candy that I will cut smaller.
And that's all it is to make a piece of candy?
Well, that particular style of candy, that's all that it took.
Oh.
Right. But now, see, that needs to be sprayed, and then it gets glued in, and I don't glue anything down till I really know how it's going to look. So.
That looks sort of neat, doesn't it?
Yes. So, yeah, see, we could use your lint. It's a very pretty pink, dusty rose.
That's from my sheets.
Oh, good.
So when I wash them, I'll save it for you.
Okay, that's good. That's a good color. So. Now let me see. I saved this red lint because I love the edges of it, and I don't know whether I can make roses out of it or not, but I will try. I thought the edges might be especially pretty.
You make the roses by just bending and folding and maneuvering?
Yes, and so that might work, but you have to have several roses on a piece together so that they stand up.
Is this felt or is this lint also?
This is lint that's been sprayed and then glued to the top of the candy box. And the reason I cut the top down was because the roses will stick up so high. I didn't want them to hit the edge of the frame when I frame it up.
Oh, I see.
So that might be the start of the roses. And put a couple in there.
So it just depends upon what you're making, what color of lint you use.
Yes, and what texture as well, because some textures just would never work for certain other things. So I didn't know if these rough little edges would work. So those would go down. There would be some other small roses to tuck inside, and then a ribbon would come around it. So.
Well, that's neat. Let's look at some of your other art that you have done.
Okay.
Now, this...
I was going to say there's still some lint over there with the portrait of the Queen. That's over there.
That's made out of lint?
That's all made out of lint. That's Mary, Queen of Scots, and she's left over from an installation that I did which was called Escape from the Palace.
And this is most unusual. This is
recent work, and I call it true romances. It's the stories that are in the New York Times on Sundays about people getting married, the story of their meeting, their romance, what their parents do about their wedding, and they're just such delightful stories. So I made each of the canvases into a bride with the veils over them.
how unusual. Now, this is also unusual. Is this collage?
This is collage, and I've used this entire series that's on the front here and a few pieces on the back, which are a Tibetan tragedy, and for me, it's about how cruel China has been to Tibet. And I've used prayer papers that usually are burned in the temples, and antique exercise books that I've had since the 70s, and heart-shaped rocks on them. The heart-shaped rocks are collected from all over the world when I travel. And then there's the Tibetan prayer flag. So it's almost as if the prayers of the Chinese are in opposition to the prayers of the Tibetans.
Is that a difficult medium to work with?
I'm very kind to myself when I work. I mean, I don't let myself get too carried away with perfection in it, and so I don't find it so difficult. Mostly I find it just wonderful to work with.
What other examples of different mediums do you have that you have worked with? I see some painting.
I have a whole series of paintings that I did that are about sending out thoughts or prayers out into the universe. And I use a texture paste underneath, and then paint, acrylic paint, and gold, silver, and copper leaf, and automatic writing. So the automatic writing is just there.
Is this real writing?
No, it's invented writing, and depending on what I'm holding in my hand, whether it's a brush or a pen, the writing might look Asian, it might look Egyptian. Somebody said it looked like Old Hebrew on some of the pieces, so
if I asked you to translate, it wouldn't work?
Oh, I might make up a funny story and tell you that's what it says. But
and I wouldn't know the difference, probably.
It wouldn't be true. Very tongue-in-cheek. But you could invent your own prayer to the universe.
I want to also show this.
Oh, one of my bird's nests. I started collecting bird's nests that fell out of trees, and I put tiny railroad figures in them, which set up somewhat social commentaries about who they are. So this one is called Specimen, and it's got a very heavy-set man is standing around drinking beer in this bird's nest. So. And the nest itself is unusual, so I thought they were both good specimens.
Did you do a series of these?
I did. I did probably about 15 bird's nests last year.
All right. This has been most interesting. I want to thank you for letting us come and see your studio and listen to your commentary, because you're a most interesting lady.
Oh, thank you very much, Harvey. You know, some artists like me, we like to talk about our work, so it's been a pleasure.
I'm going to have to thank my good friends Jim and Jean Preston for saying I have to do you on one of my shows, because they said you're going to be fascinating, and indeed you are.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
Slater, thank you.
You're welcome, Harvey. Thank you for coming.
And that's our show for this time. Be sure and join us next time as we take another walk through history and uncover more Long Beach treasures. Hey, sailor, new in town? Hi, I'm Harvey Keller, host of Long Beach Treasures, and we're on the move. We're moving to Sundays at 6:30 and Tuesdays at 6. We'll still bring you interesting programs, profiling historic homes, buildings, neighborhoods, interesting people, places, and things. So join us every Sunday at 6:30, Tuesdays at 6. If you'd like to see a show or drop me a line, my email is lbtreasures@aol.com. And thanks for watching.